Hello. Let's see who's on. I need to start with play music playing in the background. I need to figure it out. I should do it. Hi. Welcome. I was just saying how I should start with by playing music, having some music play in the background while I do this. Hi. Hey, what's up, everyone? So, today we are talking about apps, and we're going to deal with, I hope it sounds okay. I'm trying it at a different location. Obviously, we need to work on some lighting things. We're just in this together. We are learning while we go, as always. That's what I to do. Yes, okay, so I'll start playing music every time. We'll pick a new song. Hopefully, it'll probably be a theme to talk about, or depending on what we're talking about, the music will match the theme, so it'll be real great. So today we are talking about apps, and I'm super excited. So I know that there's a lot of talk about apps right now. AOTA has really great resources on their website. If you're a member through AOTA, they have a lot of great resources every week about different apps, and they're broken down in categories and different ways to use them, different modalities, and kind of everything in the App Store, which is really amazing. So I definitely recommend for you to check that out. For today's, for just this live, I'm going to focus on 5 of the apps that I use. So I haven't done any research, major research. I've definitely in the past I've organized an Appy Hour through AOTA, so I definitely know a lot of apps out there that are really great. But today I just really wanted to be super real and honest about my view on how I use my iPad, how I engage the kids, and then the true, genuine top 5 apps that I use on a day-to-day basis. So this is just me. I know that there's a ton out there, but I just wanted to preface this that this is just honestly how I use my iPad and what I find is the most effective and most efficient way to utilize that. So I have my iPad here. This is an old refurbished one that was my dad's, so it was a little hand-me-down. So it works great. It still works, so it's all good. So that's also another option. I know that a lot of people say, oh, I can't get an iPad, or my school doesn't have one for me or anything like that. I think that there are a lot of great resources out there if you look for refurbished or different options that way, because I do utilize it every single day. So if your company doesn't supply you one, definitely I would ask for it, and you can write up even a report of why you can use it and why it would be beneficial for practice and for your clinic. And then if not, there are ways out there if you're an independent contractor like me, that is always an option. So I just realized I totally didn't introduce myself, just in case if we have any new friends here. So my name is Lauren Grabowski, LG the Fit OT, and I'm a former traveling occupational therapist, and I just am now currently living in Florida as a full-time independent contractor. So I contract myself out to different clinics, and I also am starting as an adjunct professor this week at South University, and I am also a fitness instructor and love everything about fitness and health and wellness. So that's a little bit about me. So let's jump right into our first app. So the first one that I use is Writing Wizard. So this is one that is writing based. You do have to pay for it, but it is worth, I think it's $1.99, but it's totally worth the investment. So there's different options. So this is what it looks like whenever you pull it out. So you can do tracing different shapes. There's a ton of different shapes. Capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and then you can create word list. So I have, names are up right now, but there's all these different different word lists. So you can do B, D, and Q's and P's. So I just have a bunch of different letters that we click through and practice our P's and Q's and B's and D's. So those high episodes of letter reversals letters. And then I have a 3-letter word list, names, and then I have some like themey ones for Halloween or for Valentine's Day if I was doing an activity kind of to in conjunction with this. So I really like this app because, one, you can definitely start with tracing their names with their letters. You practice letter formation. I really like the way that they form the letters. It very simulates, matches up with Handwriting Without Tears. So I love going over that. So sometimes I'll put this on the table next to us and we'll do like 5 traces, and then we'll transition right to the paper and write a couple there. So this is Writing Wizard again. It's super great. And then I also really love just these simple shapes. So it starts with horizontal or vertical lines and it draws it for you. And then the next one is horizontal lines. And I use these even with my kiddos that can write and are like in second or third grade, but really can't cross midline. So I'll put them on their backs or on their belly and really focus on drawing those lines and crossing midline, and really having them follow that. And some of them have such a hard time. So I really like to use this in my back pocket and have it for all of those kids, especially when it comes to crossing midline, making true diagonals, which is another issue for a lot of my kiddos because that all plays into crossing midline. So this is a really good app, and I love the symbols part. So then I don't know if you can see, this light is, sorry. So whenever you start to make the line, wow, I can't do this backwards and upside down. This is like a rainbowed thing. So once you go through all the lines, it does like a fun activity or like a fun visual stim. And then you can move around and play with it, and each one, every time you do it, is a different thing, like a different symbol or a different like rainbow color or a different thing like that. And they do different things. So it's always it's a good motivator for a lot of the kids that love that visual feedback and that visual stim, and then they get to play with it for a little bit, and then you do another round. So it is a really great app. You can adjust the difficulty, the size of the letters in the words, the speed, if there's auditory cues, if there's visual cues, because as you keep increasing difficulty, there's even a time where it just gives you a starting point and you have to do the whole letter by itself. So it's really good, and I love apps that have all of those options. So Writing Wizard, I think it's $1.99. I do know you have to pay for it, but they do run specials. So if you don't want to pay for it right now, definitely keep your eye on it. And there's a lot of specials that they run with it, with groups of apps. So definitely write that down and take a look. Next is that I use, okay, so this is my second spiel. So I would say like this is a good writing activity, solid, fine motor, visual motor activity. Next, and I know this is like going against what a lot of people say about apps and iPad use in the clinic, but let's be honest, sometimes the app or the iPad is just so highly motivating. Whenever I first meet a kid, or if a kid's having a really bad day and can't transition, or is still kind of feeling me out, I use this iPad to my advantage. It is a super high motivator, and these kids will work for it. So another game that I just randomly found that all of my kids love for some reason, it is actually the silliest, not exciting game, but I don't know, all of my kids love it, from like my 3-year-olds all the way up. For some reason they love it. Yes, iPads are a huge motivator, and I think in practice there's such a high need for justification of why using the iPad, and sometimes I just take the justification of, these kids love it, they're gonna work for it, and if I can get them on their belly playing this game, or in quadruped playing this game, or side sit, and focus on the position and like more visual motor stuff, that's fine with me. They can pick the game. So I think that it works both ways, where we can use apps to our advantage, but also we can use the positions and the setting and the environment we create of them engaging in an app too. I think it works both ways. So this next one is called Lego Junior, so Lego and then Juniors. So it's just a simple Lego game, and for some reason all of my kids love it. So you can build your Lego man, and then you build the car or the helicopter or anything that you want, and you have to slide the pieces together to create that vehicle. And then it prompts you to go to a course, and you literally just press 2 buttons and watch either the helicopter fly or the car move across the screen and collect coins. It is not super exciting, but all of my kids love it. So I think it's worth it. So a lot of the times I make them play this on their bellies or in quadruped, because whenever you get to pick you create your guy, and then it prompts you, there's Batman, that's always a crowd favorite. Then it prompts you to kind of start building your car, and then you'll slide all the pieces on. So they have to really kind of motor plan through it and visually motor slide through it. Okay, so this is the part where I really do like it. So you have to press this button to go forward. This one, he makes a silly noise, and then this one beeps the horn. And if they're, oh, perfect, yes. Yay, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I can also post an app of basically all of the apps that I have, but these are definitely the top 5. So you have to, this isn't, the helicopter one, you have to press both at the same time, but a lot of the kids like to play with both. So if you put them on their belly, it automatically prompts them to get into that position where their shoulders are pulled back and they're actually holding their head up and using their muscles rather than compensating throughout. So I love that they need to hold the iPad and those buttons in, so it kind of puts them in a good posture. So that's why I do like this app, or any apps that you have to use both hands and kind of hold that position. So Writing Wizard was the first one. This is Lego Juniors. This is just like a fun game. A lot of my kiddos that are just starting out to fine motor and even just visual motor and like muscle grading and pressure grading, I like to use this one too because it's a lot of sliding and manipulation. So it's a really good app for that as well, from that perspective. The third app is called My Mosaic. This is what was on my Instagram story today, and I definitely have posted about it before. I love this app. So you can get a free version, and I think it gives you 3 different patterns. So it's called My Mosaic 2. It gives you, I think, the house, the butterfly, and maybe the person. And then if you pay, I think it's like $1.99 or $3, it unlocks all of them. So in this one, you basically pick which one you want, and then here are the colors, and you have to rebuild what's over here. So I use this in a lot of different ways. Today I was working on visual closure, and so I covered up this stimulus. So I covered up this with a Post-it. I built half of it, and he had to replicate the other half. Sometimes I'll do it with I tell them what color I want them to do first, if we're working on like diagonals, or kind of looking at it from a linear perspective of making all the lines, or put all the colors first in a certain line. And I just really love it for visual perceptual, visual motor integration, all of those really big groups of things that you're working on, usually whenever you turn to an iPad. A lot of these iPad games, you are going to be working on a similar set of things, which is nice. So that was called My Mosaic 2, and I love it. Yay. Okay, so the fourth one, and I usually don't really love this whenever you're asking for advice, or whenever someone's doing something and they tell you an app that you probably already use, but I just think this was super important to include, and it's something that I genuinely use every single day, almost in every single treatment, and that is YouTube. Surprise, surprise! YouTube is something that I use daily, pretty much hourly, and minute-wise. So I have, I actually use Google Play for a majority of my, like just for my personal music. So that automatically grandfathers me into that Google Red subscription. And I really love it. Exactly. Thank you, Jennifer, you're the best. So YouTube, or so that YouTube Red is really nice because there's no ads, and you can keep playing it as background music. If you're using it on an iPad, it doesn't have, the full screen doesn't have to be up, which is really nice. So it is a monthly investment, but if you do that, it is nice in the treatment because you're not worried about different ads popping up or anything like that. So that is an option. So my biggest thing that I've recently been really focusing on is manipulating the environment in which I'm working. So I work at a couple different clinics. Some of them have I'm working in the same room as other therapists, and some of them one of them I have my own private room, which is amazing, and I love it. So I'm definitely playing with and starting to understand the power of the environment that you're creating. So I have, even whenever I'm working with other therapists in the room, I try to keep that music on just because it sets the tone, even for other therapists practicing, that they are able, everyone kind of plays off that music that you're playing. So, hi Justine. So talking about YouTube, as always. So one of the biggest things that I use on YouTube, like I said, I've been talking, how I was saying about creating the environment and manipulating it to work for you. On YouTube, if you type in the search, if you type in Google or calming music, there's a subscription. I don't even know what it's called. What are those called? A subscriber person? I don't know. It's called Yellow Brick Cinema, and they have great music. All of my kids with autism tolerate it so well, because I've been looking, and even if I type in calming music for kids with autism, a channel, thank God, yes, thank you. The millennial over here is struggling. So I have been searching, or like I would initially search calming music for kids or for autism or ASD or anything like that. And for some reason, a lot of the kiddos that I was seeing, the music wasn't doing the trick, or it was bothering them, or it had too much like piano or flute. But if you just type in calming music, Yellow Brick Cinema should come up. All of the ones, most of them are great, and most of them will work, but I found that the ones that have that yellow, orangish sunset as their opening picture, and of that first slide, for some reason, that works like a charm. It is the perfect tempo, it is some really great tones, and it just automatically calms 90% of my kids. And so that's something that I've been really utilizing. And then even whenever I'm doing some like reflex integration stuff or some sensory processing stuff, or even just different vestibular positions and isometric holds, I'll keep that music on and I'll prop it up just to give them a focal point and ask them questions about the pictures that they're seeing, what colors are on there, if there's a moon or if it's the ocean. So it also gives them a reference point that they're not getting lost in the picture. Like some of my kids with autism, whenever I play like Five Little Speckled Frogs or Mary Had a Kangaroo, sometimes they get lost and they start stimming off that visual, whereas this one is new and it's not super overwhelming or visually stimulating, so they're not going to get lost in it, but they're also going to engage and have a focal point so that they're able to stay in those positions a little bit longer. So even though YouTube is my fourth app recommendation, I think you can really utilize it and use it to your advantage to look at it a little bit differently. So I use that calming music a lot with the pictures sometimes. And then as always, I use the Little Baby Bums music of Five Little Speckled Frogs or Mary Had a Kangaroo, just to kind of even get the kids in the door, get them engaged. And then I usually sing those super funny and I'm really engaged, and I'll make it way over the top. So then those kids, that is a really good rapport builder for me. Just because I love music, I love dancing, and I love I can be super silly when it comes to music and those songs. So I use that to my advantage. So within probably the first, either on eval day or within the first 2 sessions, every one of my kiddos at one point we're putting that on and I'm being super silly, and that immediately gets their attention and they're like, oh wait, I like her and she's funny. So now I'm gonna work as well, and I trust her, and we build that rapport super great. So I use that to my advantage as well. It's all a game whenever it comes to kids. It's all a game. Make them think that. That's what I've learned for sure. So the last and final app that I want to talk about is called DVA Test. So this is super visual. Visual based is visual scanning, visual tracking, even basically every visual perceptual field it goes into. So even figure ground and everything like that. So let's see if it connects. So a DVA test, and I think this one is free. So it's super cool. So you can go through and there's all different levels, all different categories. And what happens is, so it's gonna say, let's see if we can get it. Nope. Okay, so it's gonna say start. So as soon as you press start, something's gonna come across the screen. So this is the first level. So it's super slow and super calm. There's no background. Some of the other ones get, there's background, or like the background's different, or there's things blocking it, and there's holes, and you kind of have to do that visual closure to figure it out. So then it gives you options. That was the orange, maybe orange, and then you can start again. Oh wait, I totally couldn't see it because there was a glare. Scissors, I was right. I guessed on that one. Okay, so start. So then you would click carrot. Perfect. So then you keep going through that. So this is a really good one whenever I'm starting to figure out if my kiddo's having some visual difficulties or things like that. So it's a good also tracking attention wise, because as you start getting faster, a lot of my older kiddos with ADHD, they are not paying attention, and it'll go fast across the screen and they'll be like, wait, Miss Lauren, wait, I want to do it again. But it really teaches them that they have to be paying attention and start blocking out other information and other sensory stimuli in order to pay attention and really focus on that one focal point. So that's called DVA test. And this one, like I said, it goes through all these different levels. So it changes, yeah, exactly. So it is a really good one. And it's kind of really basic, it's not fancy. You can tell that people are just putting it together, which is really great. So then this is one of the, oh no, I lost connection. So it was one of those, there's sometimes the sides are blocked out, sometimes there's holes in it. And they have to be paying attention, or they only see half of it. And then obviously also the speed increases as well. So that's a really good one that I use pretty frequently, especially whenever it comes to my older kiddos, which is a good one. So that's my top 5 that I use. So just as a little recap, Jennifer was so nice and she put those all in the comments. So if you scroll through a little synopsis, and all of the names are in there. But one more time, the first one was Writing Wizard. Second one was Lego Juniors. Third is My Mosaic 2. Fourth is YouTube. And then 5 is that DVA test. So as always, the little spiel that I kind of gave in the beginning is that I love using the iPad. I use it almost every session, even if it is just for music, or to help get the kid involved and get the kid engaged and use it as a motivator. So I think that there's a balance between honing in and making them use like a certain clinical based app, or using it as a just motivator. They get to pick the game, they get to have 3 minutes of free time, but we're doing it in a different way, or we're laying on our bellies, or we're doing an activity between each one. So it's really, I think that it's a really good opportunity that you can use it in diverse ways. So I think just keep looking and keep using it to your advantage. And then the stylus, I have that in my bag as well. So we'll do that. And then I actually have a shortened stylus. I just randomly found it on Amazon one time. So I'm a huge fan of broken crayons and small pencils and everything like that. So you can look at the sizing of your stylus as well, just to kind of help work on that fine motor coordination and that intrinsic muscles. Oh, and a pom-pom. Yes, perfect. So yeah, so that's kind of everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. As always, thanks for tuning in. So every Tuesday, on Thursday I will post 2 topics. So make sure for next Tuesday. So make sure you check that out and cast your vote, and we'll see what we'll chat about next Tuesday. So thank you. Happy everyone enjoy their evening. See you later. Bye.